And that part is scary for me. That part is very, very scary.
What's up, fertility babe? Let's get those babies, ladies.
Drops fall and the beauty of it all.
Bam, how are you? Tonight is going to be a very different video than I intended to make. I have a whole thing of fresh direct has arrived. I've got some things that I'm going to make chia bowls in that I wanted to show you guys. And then I had a calling to do this video. So somebody needs to hear this video or this needs to be said. I've got Liberty on the ground who wants to come up here. Come around this side, baby. Come sit over here. Come on. You can't come all the way up here. Okay. This is my 4th time trying to do this video, so the devil is busy. He is also a lie. I'm gonna get this out tonight. I've been, as you know, going on this journey with my food. I'm going to call it now a journey to wellness, and not a weight loss journey, not a detox journey, but a journey to wellness. And so that means wellness overall. And part of that, there's been some self-discovery. I'm an emotional eater. I mentioned that in one of the other videos that posted, I think it posted Saturday. I started journaling my emotions, and again, that'll be in the other video that I originally planned to be doing tonight. I'm stalling. Let me get to the crux of it. Okay. I was so long delayed, not in making this video, so long delayed in addressing this question within myself of why I was so reluctant to go to donor eggs. And in sitting with it and being willing to sit with it, I think the answer is shame, fear, and feeling broken, feeling like a failure. So I didn't know I was going to want to have children again. I purposely dated people who didn't want children so that I didn't have to address that issue. And then honestly, I would say after I hit 40, I just didn't think I could get pregnant. So when I accidentally got pregnant in 2017, it triggered so many things in them. The first thing was not like, oh my God, I want to be a mom again. I'm just going to be honest. That was not my first thought. I was horrified, petrified, just how could this happen to me? Well, I know how it could happen to me, but how could this happen to me? Type of situation, to the point of like, when I went to the doctor, she gave me the pregnancy test. It was a Friday. I waited into a blood draw, right? The quantitative pregnancy test. I waited until Monday to get the result. I could have just gone and taken a drugstore test. It didn't even occur to me. I didn't think of it. I'm not a dumb person. I was just like waiting for the official answer. Then I did a lot of research about it, and it was like basically a miracle pregnancy. There was like a 1% chance that that occurred at my age. So then the child took on this whole other identity in my mind. Like, oh, it must be meant to be. And which makes you think like once I was told it wasn't going to be a viable pregnancy, I would have just moved on. Like that was the miracle. It wasn't meant to be, and let's just go back to my life as it was. And I was not able to do that. There was some strong calling in me, or something awakened in me that gave me a very, very strong desire to be a mom again. Not only to be a mom again, to give birth, to be a mom to my own child, to raise another human being again, to guide them through their time on this earth. So something was switched on. And so because I had had that one pregnancy with my own egg, I was of the mind that it could happen again. Like, had I been taking better care of myself, because at that point I was like drinking, smoking, doing pot, like all sorts of random stuff. And so I was like, if I'm more disciplined with my own health, I will be more fit. My body will be more fit. My eggs will be ready. Did a ton of research, started a YouTube channel, and shared that research. Was just how you and I met, probably, unless you're here now for the egg donor part, but it ultimately is how you and I met. And I just knew, like, if I took enough ubiquinol, enough folate, if I got my FSH down, it would work. Like, why wouldn't it work? If this were God's plan, it would work. And so I think as the time went on, I just dug in deeper. And I got a thing from my app today, my Mequilibrium app, which is like equilibrium and Mequilibrium. And it said something about iceberg thoughts and how I get stuck on iceberg thoughts. And it gave 2 examples that I didn't agree with, but the third example it gave was control. I identified with that. I mean, I think if you look back over the years over my videos, I have a strong like OCD tendency. Like I get laser focused on something and invest a bunch of time into it, like I'm doing with the weight loss. And that's pretty much how I've conquered everything in my life. Like it's made me a very successful person. And
So if it ain't broke, why fix it, right?
so there's a part of going through assisted reproductive technology that you are not in control. And that part is scary for me. That part is very, very scary. The shame comes into coming to the realization as I talk to more people. Even I talked to a geneticist this year, not related to being pregnant, related to finding out if I was a carrier for the cancer gene because my mom had cancer. And I told her that I was going to be going through IVF. And she said, oh, well, how old are the eggs? I'm 49. And I said it that way, I'm 49. She said, oh, I know you're 49, but how old are your eggs that you're going to transfer? And I was like,
They're 49.
and she just went dead silent. Because it's virtually unheard of, right? And you guys all know I love Dr. Halem, who is my IVF unicorn, my dermatologist. And I remember her telling me, you know, even though she had the baby at 47, that her eggs were 45. And then when I went to the gynecologist, and for some reason that felt like an attack on my womanhood for people to keep telling me that I couldn't do it with my own eggs. But that was ego. And that was that iceberg thought that I was stuck on. Because it's just biology. It has nothing to do with me. Like, I would be in medical journals now if I went through a retrieval and got pregnant from that egg. I mean, it could happen, but it would still definitely be in medical journals. And so it was my ego so big that I was willing to keep that, to allow that to keep me from being a mom again, right? Because if I bought into that of like, no, I should be able to have it with my own egg and yada, 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 then that means I was going to be left empty-handed. And was I willing to walk away? I mean, the short answer is no. The short answer is no. But then there's all these other things that are sort of tangled up in there. It took me a long time to get to donor eggs, but now I'm all in. If that is going to get me to being a mom again, to having a baby, I'm all in. There are some other issues that I have, though, with abandonment and identity. Specifically, feeling abandoned by my father, not having a clear identity of who my father is. I mean, I knew him, but I didn't know him, if that makes sense. We didn't, like, have this deep connection that I would imagine that a father and daughter would have, and it's impacted all my relationships. And so in my mind, I thought, well, where else would I be thinking? I was of the mind of at least, and again, that's that thing I was talking about in the other video, that's never a good place to be. At least is the lowest common denominator. At least I'll be related to the child and they'll have that as some beacon to hold on to. Because I am using donor sperm. So I had to unpack all of that. What is the truth in there about my identity? And I think it was more specific to that specific person, my biological father, than anything else. And oddly enough, I think that also demonstrates that the fact that he was my biological father and felt no real connection toward me kind of thumbs up that sort of notion that biology is end all be all. And I told myself, you know, I convinced myself, I'm not going to say I lied to myself, but I convinced myself that there were other things, like this child should be biologically related to Cheyenne, or how would Cheyenne feel if I had another child that's not related to her and she ends up having to share her inheritance and she's been here the whole time, and like all sorts of things that I was using to sort of justify why I didn't want to do that. And now that I'm, you know, one cycle away from transferring an embryo from conceived from a donor egg, conceived from donor sperm, I'm so hopeful and so prayerful that it works. Like, it's frightening me that it might not work, but I'm staying hopeful, I'm staying prayerful. But that is I'm scared of that. I wrote that in my journal. That now I can't imagine not even having this opportunity. Like if I would have denied myself the opportunity from the mistruths that I was telling myself, from the story that I was telling myself, if I would have denied myself this shot, and it is probably, you know, my last shot. And I know people have asked, like, there's been so many questions, and I think it's such a deeply personal choice. And so I'm not saying this as an answer to anyone else except for myself, and coming and speaking truth, I guess, is what I want to do. I'm not going to say coming clean, but speaking truth, putting my thoughts, my emotions to words and sharing it. Because I think there's power in that. It's my 4th time trying to make this video, so I was called to do it. Somebody needs to hear it, or I just need to say it, but it has to be done. To think that I was willing to walk away from that is just scary. But people have said things to me like, well, why are you doing this at your age? Most women your age who are doing it, it's because they're in a new relationship or they have a new man. I don't want to say I feel sad for those women who are doing it for a man, because there's probably more to it than that. Like, we're complicated human beings. Like, I'm sitting here going through my emotions and trying to put words to them. I'm sure those women have things going on that they have to put words to, and if it makes sense for them, I'm not here to judge. That's not my motivation, though. It has nothing to do with the man. It's truly what I want, and honestly, it's probably one of the first things or the few things in life that I did just for me. I spend a lot of my time worried about pleasing other people. I've spent a lot of my life being a people pleaser. Wanting to accommodate, wanting to assist, aid, help, however you want to phrase it. And so this is one of the few things, I'm not going to say the first thing, but one of the few things that I'm doing just for myself. And I was kind of feeling guilty about that too, which is crazy, but I mean, not crazy. I'm not going to judge myself either. It's what I was feeling. And I think it's okay to do something for yourself. I know it's okay to do something for myself. I give a lot to other people. I love a lot. I think it's okay to do this for me, and ultimately for the benefit of the child, because I was like, is that selfish? But I'm going to bring life into the world and take care of it and give it a good life and help it navigate Earthside. So I don't think that's selfish. There's reciprocity in that, if anything. The emotional journal where I document my emotions, it's interesting. It's interesting. So yeah, that is how I got to accepting the fact that I was going to be a recipient of an egg from an egg donor. If anyone out there is on the fence, definitely do some heart searching and some soul searching, and be really honest with yourself about what you can live with and what you can't live with. That makes the decision process a little easier. At least it did for me. And so I think when you know, like however it is that you get there, you have to know in your heart that you're okay with it. And I think that's what took me to the brink of almost not going with donor eggs, is because I was unclear. And then once I knew, I knew. And I'm praying that it works out for me. I'm praying by, if not this time next month, this time in 2 months, that I have a BFP that I get to share with you guys. So that's all, guys. That's all. I needed to get this out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for keeping me in your prayers, all of you guys who have been praying, and all the positive vibes and sticky baby dust. I appreciate it. I really do. All right, ladies. And you know what? I think I have to start saying, let's get these babies, ladies. I think getting those babies kind of puts it out there, if that makes sense. And these babies includes me in the mix. So let's get these babies, ladies. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Baby dust to us all.